Stop what you're doing and listen.
Now, live from Chicago, the Hal Sparks radio program MAGA Worldwide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hal Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hal Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
You know, Johnny Million, it's always good to talk to you, especially, on a lovely Saturday where the weather is starting to temper towards the fall, we hope.
Yeah.
We're just shy of that temperature where bushes are bursting into flame at random. And we could probably get, refill the oceans if they ever ran dry with all the chest sweat from pedestrians. But there, of course, we've got a lot of news to cover, but not the least of which is that I know some of you were worried. Some of you may have been following along, maybe you were blissfully unaware. But the Mississippi pilot who stole a small private plane from an airfield and was threatening to crash land it into a Walmart in Tupelo, Mississippi, he has landed safely, although roughly, in a cornfield or a farmyard at someplace.
Okay, all right. I know this is important stuff we're talking about.
Yep.
But Lisa Mia Moore and Hal Vickery are ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, are they being beautiful right out of the gate this morning?
They're being beautiful, and Hal's apparently being preemptively beautiful.
Oh, look at that. He'll be on a cruise next week, and he's flying home the following week, so we will miss you sorely, Hal Vickery. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for tipping us up today.
Plague.
Yep, thank you for making the show possible. Today's
thank
show.
You, Lisa Mia Moore. I was trying to tag you, but
yes.
You're untaggable.
Today's show is brought to you by Hal Vickery and Lisa Mia Moore, and the super chats that show up in our and the Patreon supporters who keep us running all the time. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. Now, Tupelo, Mississippi, Walmart man steals plane, going to crash it into it. They talk him out of the sky. He has landed in a field, and apparently MAGA world is all aflutter because they are concerned it's one of theirs. I know how they feel. Sometimes when something goes wrong, if in the middle of unrest, a Target gets burned down, part of me goes, that's probably on our side. That's on us. Let's put that in our column. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get worried.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm not for it, but I know it's probably somebody who thinks they're on the right, this side of things, and that's not good. So
like, communism, we're doing this for the people.
That's right.
Like,
No, you're not really, actually. And you're destroying the businesses that are in the neighborhoods that had a hard time getting those businesses to come there in the first place. And then they don't return
taxes.
Yeah, it's not good. So I understand the feeling. Although I will say that at least I have the feeling that most of the time when I have those feelings, it's centered around large actions of unrest where wily groups may go a bit rogue away from what the purpose of said
wily
thing is.
I need to use wily more.
It is. It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
And theirs tend to be like these days, especially rogue dudes with nail guns showing up and AR-15 showing up at the Cincinnati FBI field office and very possibly stealing a plane and threatening to crash it into a Walmart. Now, he is down emotionally and physically. So if you are listening to the show while driving through the Tupelo, Mississippi area, if you look at the flight plan, it looks like a joke about those old flight lines that they used to have in like Warner Brothers cartoons.
Yeah.
When they would they'd do a straight line from one place and then a straight line to the next place and then spaghetti. Yeah. And then there'd actually be a meatball in the middle of it. That's what it looks like. It's not particularly good. And anyways, he is down. I know everyone was worried, so I wanted to cover that. That said, good morning, welcome. Right now should come as no surprise, none whatsoever. That oh, by the way, this is it's a zombie day. By the way, did you know that?
What?
Did you know today is Zombie Day?
I had no idea.
Yeah, according to the QAnon folks, and I know what you're thinking. Is this another deadline that's going to come and go with nothing happening, that they warned
just
us.
in 2 weeks.
And then, and then nothing. And then they're going to have to come up with another one, and their gullible followers will still go along with it, even though nothing ever pans out. No, it's not. Today, apparently the Q folks think that vaccinated people, including me and you and many of our listeners, are going.
Today's the day?
Yes, today's the day. We are all going to.
It's so crazy. The cravings I had when I woke up this morning, I can't describe. It explains everything.
The messages are: stay away from anyone who has the jab on September 3rd. We warned you.
That's amazing.
Yes, white hats in control. We Q own you. Keep America great or something. Stay away from anyone who has the COVID jab on September 3rd because we are all going to turn into zombies today. It's zombie day.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
do you think we're going to be like the fast zombies or like old school? Like,
I'm going to be the fast zombie. I'm going to get. What do you want? You think I want to be chewing on buttocks like some low end zombie horde bringing up the rear? I'm a brain eater.
That's a context question. If I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I'm going to be. I'm going to have a like.
You want to be chewing on buttocks?
You're going to find me the only zombie out there with an egg hammer and a spoon, like eating them like a soft boiled egg. You know, I'm going to have a napkin tucked into the top of my shirt, and I'm going to jump on someone. I'm going to, of course, tear them to bits or whatever you do as a zombie. I don't know. I think there's an orientation at 4. And I don't want to be late for it today. But I'm going to, of course, and they'll have to be, I suppose, dead at some point. And you got to eat them quick because they'll turn into a zombie if you don't eat their brains quickly. And then you tap around the top edge.
Where can I find that so I can like retweet that and put this out there?
This is Ted Lieu actually has posted the Patriot Takes one on. Patriot Takes has it up. And apparently there is there is a oh boy. There is a series of codes that let you know this is the day and how people know it, and how 199 fire emojis, 72 thumbs up emojis, 51 emojis, 37 thank you / prayer emojis, 30 scared emojis, 17 down. I don't know. This sounds like an old controller code to open up God mode in Doom. You know what I mean? Up, down, left, right, left, up, down, left, right, left.
Oh my goodness, I'm falling behind here. Carol Cobb is killing on the super chats.
Oh, lovely.
Julie Palmer.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, yes. We'll miss you, Al Vickery, she says. He's only gone for a couple weeks. He's not going anywhere permanently. And Mark P., thank you. Looking forward to seeing you at Sexy Liberal DC 1 week from today. That's right. I will be doing
Bobby Brunswick
next week's show from our nation's capital. It's going to be very exciting. I'm excited about it. And then we've got the show that night. I'm going to be in DC a couple days ahead. So Summer and I are leaving early, and we're going to be there, and we're hoping to get a tour of the White House. I don't know if anybody will be there, but we'll be there. Obviously not the real White House.
You think Dark Brandon will be there?
Yes, Dark Brandon he'll be on the rooftop while the Batman theme plays. And
I really don't understand the Dark Brandon thing. I can't tell if it's something that is it something invented by Trumpers to say that he's horrible, or is it something embraced by the libs?
It's a libs meme to push back on the idea that that they think Biden is a monster. Because if you hear the talk about Biden, let's be abundantly clear. To sum up, according to MAGA, Joseph Robinette Biden, the current sitting president of the United States, is all at the same time a doddering, dementia-addled, weak, emotionally suffocated, puppeted old man who is in concurrently being the victim of elder abuse and destroying the country because his brain doesn't work. and insists on making the decision. So he insists on making decisions while his brain doesn't work, and at the same time, he's also puppeted by, I guess, Obama, Oprah, and Hillary Clinton.
And also not president.
And, well, that's, yeah. And, though, he's also a criminal mastermind that runs the world's biggest crime family that has their tendrils in everything on earth. They have utter control over what goes on in Russia, utter control about what goes on in China. They are effectively teaming up with those two teams to destroy America in the most like insipid, stealthy way, so that they could just like they will never see it coming. Little cuts to our liberties that are one big giant slash, right? He's all those things at once. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds oddly contradictory and impossible and atrociously silly. But what do I know? I'm a zombie. We have to take a break. You were listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
You're locked into the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Oh, you bet we are. So, ever since, I mean, Johnny Million, are you on Truth Social?
I'm not. Do I need to sign up?
Well, I certainly, if you want to avoid some zombies, I suppose that's the only site you're gonna have to go there, because
I can't find anything on like the normal web. I've been doing some very refined searching, and it's just not out there.
Oh no, this is on the Q like threads, stuff like that. But on Truth Social, I mean, Trump has been actually retruthing. Retruthing. Oh God. I mean, it sounds dumber every time you say it. Like the fact that
and I have to confess to all the sparklers, I didn't understand that Truth was just their rebranding of Twitter.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was such
a ripoff. Just
a
pathetic.
Pure ripoff.
Yeah. It's pitiful. It literally, all they changed was the color scheme. You have a red check mark instead of a blue check mark. Who would have thunk it? Like, it's so stupid. But anyways, Trump basically, since the search of Mar-a-Lago, has been just like, he's been truthing at a mad clip. First of all, the site is getting new attention around the world. But the problem he has is, and this is the issue, that's not an issue for other social media platforms, but definitely for his, is that you don't have to subscribe to it or use it to look at what he's typing. You can pull up any user and just look at their feed on Truth. You don't have to sign in. It's not, and I guess in the name of transparency, that should be the way it is. But he built the site that way so everybody can look at what he's saying and laugh at it or I guess pearl clutch about it for those folks that are concerned about the danger of Donald John Trump. But he has been, and again, the site itself is not doing well. When they were talking about our traffic is up 550%. Do you know how in the hole you have to be to have your traffic go up that much in a short amount of time without any new users? It means that people forgot about using it, or that the only reason they go there, the only reason maggots go there from Getter or Gab or Old Yeller. I don't know what, they have so many sites. I'm going to have to take Getter out behind the barred ball. He's frothing at the mouth. So,
Getter really is one?
Yeah, Getter, Gettr. There's Getter, Parler, and Gab. Those are the three main ones. And then they spend a lot of time on Telegram, which is, oddly enough, so
it's just in messaging, isn't it? Do they have like message groups? Yeah,
you have message groups, and the Russians love it. So it's just weird that so does Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood. That's their main outlet. MTG also is a big Telegram user.
So they've just got like big distribution lists where they can spew out their garbage.
Yeah, you can just sign up to it and just watch the feed.
I got this directly from MTG.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's basically the same kind of feed, but it's stuff that I guess they think happens sort of out of the normal view. You know what I mean? If you put it on Twitter, people are going to see it immediately, and there's a lot of activity. There's, the Telegram folks, it's like only the true believers. That's the theory, even though, I don't know. It's like, it's as bad as her Rumble channel, which is just as dumb. But anyways, Trump's Truth Social it is hosted by a right-wing hosting company that came into existence because they believed that right-wing sites and social media companies, like, that are things that lean that way, like Rumble and stuff, would run out of places they could post their sites, that the internet censors and the US government was going to come for these folks, or the big tech oligarchies wouldn't let them post on their site because of, I don't know, little things like calling for violence against their fellow Americans, and they didn't want to be the conduit by which people chose, like, I guess Amazon wants to sell you stuff and have it delivered to your house in uniform brown boxes, rather than be the conduit by which a low-res insurrection or the next Oklahoma City happens, right? So they'd rather that not happen. So this group set themselves up. They're called Right Forge. And Right Forge, yeah, it sounds manly, come on. We're going to hammer in the steel of the ones and the zeros, banging those bits into websites for you. Anyway, so Right Forge is specifically for Trumpers. It is a maggot-oriented web hosting company, specifically to service the conservative voice. And Donald Trump has stiffed them for $1.6 million in hosting fees, and now they are in litigation with Truth Social for not paying its bills. They are keeping this site up anyways. Now, again, how many of us would enjoy the same privilege if we owed $1.6 million to our hosting company? They just keep us up there, for America. Yeah. So there's a big litigation coming up into this month, but Trump is stiffing them of this money, $1.6 million. Now, again, as the traffic goes up, it gets more expensive. So you
got to support that.
That's right. And as he tweets more, people, again, go to the site. You don't have to subscribe. The traffic for it still exists if you just go to the page and look. So he's not even gaining members while driving the cost up. And I would like to remind you that there was already Parler, Getter, Gab, and Telegram as these outlets. This man decided that what the world needed was yet another bifurcated version of right-wing Twitter to compete with the other four, while a good portion of most conservatives are still on Twitter. Ann Coulter and Ben Shapiro and that crowd, they have Dinesh D'Souza, they have not been kicked off of Twitter because somehow they managed to, even in all of their awful, stay within the terms of service. It's not difficult. All you have
just incite violence.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's easy for you to say. I suppose. I mean, wait till 4:00 when you turn into a zombie. We'll see if you'll be tweeting. Yeah, all of your tweets will be like, that's all. Like, how do you even spell that? Hashtag emoji, zombie emoji, and then meat. Yeah, the brain emoji. Nom nom nom. Hashtag nom nom nom. Brain. So the idea that Trump is some sort of master businessman should have been thrown out years ago when he didn't write Art of the Deal. And Art of the Deal came out the year he lost more in New York real estate than any person in American history to date. Also, he borrowed in the early 90s, just a couple of years later, he borrowed $56 million from his siblings just to keep the lights on at Trump Tower. They got these magic loans in the late 90s, early 2000s from Deutsche Bank and others when all the other banks had told them to go pound sand because they weren't building anything anymore. They were just a labeling company. And then The Apprentice came along, and the myth of Trump as a good businessman has carried on in MAGA mythology ever since.
So weird.
And he just ain't. He's terrible at this. He's terrible at this. Who looks at an environment where there's already 4 of something maxed out and says, another one? Especially when it's not just getting the subscribers. Because if he set the thing up, everybody who subscribes to Parler, subscribes to Gab, subscribes to Getter, and probably has a Telegram channel. They all have it. And they're busy all day bouncing their crap around. Half of them are probably using Buffer or some other service so they can send it the same message to 4 sites at once because it gets exhausting. I don't know how the interaction can build it all. But who takes that and says, we need one more of those that looks exactly like the thing you're used to using that you most likely have not been kicked off of, and we'll make money doing that. No surprise, it's tanking. It's not making money.
Who advertises on that nonsense?
No one that I know of. I mean, I don't know what their actual financial plan is for making money at all, unless it's simply the Save America PAC idea. Like he's just using this is just a manipulation to get people's phone numbers, get their private details so he can send them fundraising emails. And from that, and that's what keeps him afloat right now. And this is why Donald Trump is not going to declare that he's running for the president. Kirshner's Jared said last week, it's complicated. No, it isn't. He can't afford to not do it. He needs the Save America money. He needs the Save America money to keep the lights on at Mar-a-Lago and at Bedminster and in Trump Tower. And the minute he stops taking that money, there is no other revenue stream at all. There isn't one. I'm going to show you, when we come back, I'm going to read you a couple of those truths, which I guess you default to being true. Is this like, it's like they should just call it the fifth social. Since he declared the fifth 440 times, 432 times.
What? Really?
Yeah, in his deposition.
You have to say it over and over again, or
I thought it could be a rubber stamp. Nope, he had to do it every time. It's kind of great. We'll be back right after this.
Attention, stop what you're doing. Because we're coming back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Oh my God!
They went a little crazy with it, and I appreciate it.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Okay, so the most recent one, am I getting a loop back? Do you guys hear that?
I don't hear anything weird.
I hear it's like a loop coming from you or something that's like...
My computer fan's going kind of nuts.
Oh, I see. That might be it. There you go. That brought it down. It was something fascinating. That was better.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So the most recent Trump, the most recent Trump or re-Trump on Fifth Social was "Get Smart America," in all caps, comma, "We are losing our country!" exclamation points. 3 of them. Missed it by that much. Okay. Right before that, is the Department of, quote, Justice any better than the FBI, an out-of-control group of political, quote, mobsters and partisans that spied on my campaign, defrauded the FISA court, went after my supporters, broke into my home, and lied and cheated all over the place, including to Congress? No! Just no in all caps at the end of it. No! Why? And then right before that, the FBI is totally corrupt. They blatantly used their power to get a cognitively impaired Democrat elected president. Well, a cognitively impaired master criminal Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
In 2 elections, I don't know what that means. I don't know if he thinks that Biden has beaten him twice or something. I don't know. They spied on my campaign in all caps. It wasn't in all caps in the later ones. This one, for some reason, he was, yeah. And now broke into my home in all caps. Using a, and the letters are capitalized, using a radical left Trump-hating magistrate to grant approval and indiscriminately stole, in caps, everything within reach, including my passports. This man, this is a former president of the United States, saying the FBI, who gave a highly detailed itemized list to his attorneys when they left and served them with a proper search warrant and took pictures of everything they took with them, returned his passports even though they didn't have to because they were expired. And the fact that his passports were right next to classified documents in his desk looks like something out of the dumbest spy movie ever. You know what I mean? Like I need to be ready to go out the door. I got to have those special documents and my passport so I can hightail it out of here. You know, he goes, within reach, including my passports. They even rifled, and he put that in quotes, through the first lady's closets, dresses, and drawers. They are an out-of-control group of highly partisan, quote, mobsters, a real threat to democracy. The former president of the United States is saying that the FBI is a threat to democracy because they spent months trying to get him to return classified top-secret documents. He lied about returning them. He kept a bunch of them. They had to do a search warrant. They went through the proper process. They served him with it. They gave him an itemized list of everything that they took. And they are, quote, a group of highly partisan mobsters, a real threat to democracy. The former president of the United States is calling the FBI, knowing full well, by the way, that one of his maggots attacked the Cincinnati FBI office, calling them a threat to democracy. A real threat. The real threat. Now, on a lighter note, he also, and basically you can tell that anything he's writing, just read it as the opposite. This is just him trying to stack.
It's perpetual.
This an hour before that, when he was trying to remember to promote the rally in Pennsylvania, he was telling people to get there early and said, thank you to Newsmax and others for doing such a great job of TV coverage. The ratings are incredible. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know what he's talking about, but get there early.
What ratings?
He has been, and yeah, he's also been telling people that people have been lining up for his rally in Pennsylvania since Thursday. I don't know. I don't know.
Does that include like driving up in a trailer?
Yes, I think parking in a big, like dragging your double wide behind the pickup all the way without the wheel still on it. This is about truth. Now understand, truth, it's not even a question that Truth owes RightForge $1.6 million. That's not a question. Even, Trump's lawyers aren't disputing that. It's a genuine issue with their hosting company. Also, the SPAC that he got his funding through is in trouble now because the idea is that a SPAC is like a grab bag or a magic box at a toy store. You're not supposed to know what it is, what it's going to be used for. It's kind of like it's sort of like a version of a blind trust. And you can trust who's going to run it.
Have any knowledge about it.
Right. Well, it turns out everybody knew it was going to be used to build Trump Media and Technology Group. And one of the reasons why, when it goes to campaign stuff, why using a SPAC would be necessary or some way that you could have some plausible deniability about who's investing and what they want in return is by using a SPAC. If they already know what the SPAC is going to do and that it's going to you and that you're going to, run for president again, or you're going to run a political, media group against the United States government, which is what this is now. This is not an anti-Biden thing. This is against the function of the U.S. government. Then anybody who invested in that SPAC knew that was the plan and may invest in it not because they expect a return, not because they have this money, they're diversifying their fund and they want to put it in some stuff because they're gamblers, but because they're counting on him to do this. And foreign investors in SPACs don't have the same limitations that they have in certain businesses. So foreigners can invest in SPACs because the idea is that they don't know, it's not like them investing in Boeing or some of these other things. There has to be foreign governments, for example, couldn't invest in certain companies that make military gear for the United States, that kind of stuff. So we know that the SPAC is now being looked at as a criminal enterprise, and and Truth itself is crapping the bed. And so, of course, this is what he writes. Truth, in all caps, is doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
It has truly become our MAGA voice, in all caps, but also a voice for the rhinos and radical left lunatics. I didn't think he was reading my truths, but apparently he is. Engagements are far better, more interesting, and spirited than anywhere else.
Who typed this?
Well, I consider
I'm apparently very loud compared to you. I keep getting that.
All right. Okay. I don't know why that would be, but I'll remedy that. Engagement and by spirited, meaning people are going on there and yelling crap at him. That's what he means. I like it much better than Twitter, which is a complete mess. Sign up on Truth now, only getting stronger. Google is coming along nicely, I think, in parentheses. SEC trying to hurt company doing financing, SPAC, who knows? In any event, I don't need financing. And then, oddly enough, in quotes, he puts, I'm really rich, with an exclamation point. In quotes.
That's weird.
That's super weird. I don't need financing. I'm really rich. Private company, anyone? Right. Private company, anyone? That's what he said with three question marks. I mean, I know why he put I'm really rich in quotes. Do you think the MAGA voice people do? That's unbelievable.
I'm really starting to not like this guy.
Yeah, I'm starting to think he doesn't have our best interests at heart. I'm starting to question this whole America First business. I think when he says we're losing our country, he might be yelling about how Russia is doing in the Ukraine war right now. Boy, is that not going well. We'll cover some of that after the next break. But
can I throw in some super chats?
Yes,
here?
please.
So James Etling sent us a super chat and also asked, any chance someone might leak the questions from the deposition when Trump didn't plead the fifth, and is it more than 5 questions?
I think he pled the fifth to everything. Insofar as I know, there were not any exceptions. almost 440 times, 432 times, wow. Something like that. He pled the fifth in over 5 hours. And now Johnny's voice is too low. Beg your pardon.
Now I'm too quiet, of course. See, look here, Goldilocks.
All right, I got it. I think this should be better.
Johnny's way too... Look, you don't need to call me soft, Hal. Hal Vickery is like not taking pot shots at me.
Ouch, that's terrible. Oh, and William Beaver also super chatted us as well.
Yeah, you saw that one. And
yes.
Francis Langham.
Oh, Francis,
She's
thank
the one
you.
Who came up with the idea of the Johnny Million CPAP mask.
You're gonna make me spit my coffee out.
And Be Pragmatic is turning 50 tomorrow.
All right,
lovely.
This is my birthday month as well. I will be in Chicago my birthday weekend. I'm just saying. The Chicago Sexy Liberal show is the day before my birthday. No pressure, but tickets are on sale now, Chicago. That's right. It's sexyliberal.com. And CPT's giving away tickets, too, if you're a regular listener. You might be able to win some. So now we're good. Okay. So it should come as no surprise that the same day that that vaccinated zombies is trending and is getting around, that ivermectin is getting another boost. My guess and Johnny's guess is that ivermectin makes you taste bad to the vaccinated zombies, and therefore yeah, therefore that will keep you safe. That's my only theory, but I am sticking to it. It's the only way
Kind of
this.
like garlic.
Yeah, it's the modern garlic. That's right. So let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a bit about the Russia-Ukraine war. Our dear friend Philip Bittner is still in the United States. He's hanging about, and we may be able to run into him in LA in the next week or so. So I'm going to try and get a meetup together. And in the overlapping time that we're there, fingers crossed, we can do a sit down actual interview in person. Be a lovely thing. And
Yes.
and for the record, last night at Counts Vamped here in Las Vegas, I got up and sang with Chicago's very own Enough's Enough, and sang Fly High Michelle and New Thing with them. It was a great time had by all, and it was a little moment where a little lightning bolt shot from Vegas to Chicago, from our hearts to you guys. We'll be back right after this. I know I'm only on one day a week. I get it. I'm going to have to jump on GarageBand and start sawing something together. This is the Hal Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive and all. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Hey, Hal, did you mean something like this?
This is the Hal Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive and all. Yeah, it's going to be good.
The Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Peter in our chat room is saying how my brother Mark was born on September 25th as well. Mark and I have the same birthday. And he was very active in New Trier Theater and on Broadway. And Peter will be at the 24th show. How do I contact you? Well, Twitter, reach out through that. And if you're going to be at the meet and grope, that'll be cool. If you're if you're in the Chicagoland area, I'm going to try and do a lunch before. I'm going to try and set up a gathering, before some of these with either a coffee or something like that. It depends on where the place is, right? The day of. So I will post, if I'm able to find a place, I will post that. That'll be one of the easiest ways, kind of a mini meet and grope.
People in chat want to know when your birthday is, Hal.
September 25th. Same as Mark Hamill and Barbara Walters and Christopher Reeve. Obviously, all good people. Also Will Smith, but we'll put a pass on that temporarily till he learns how to apologize like a real human being. Now,
that wasn't bad apology.
It was pretty terrible. So, no. The answer, I was wrong. I am sorry. You don't owe me anything. When you're ready to talk, no. I got news for you, buddy. Nobody has to. That's up. You don't get to ask. You don't get to put it in their lap after you struck them. That's not how it works. Anyway, so one of the big concerns is let me even. I know it's not the happy ending because we got another hour of the show, but let me tip us towards a bit of a let's brighten things up a little bit. There is not going to be a civil war or riots in the street over the incarceration or indictment or criminal trial of Donald John Trump. It is not going to happen.
I'm buying supplies.
Yeah, no. I mean, there'll be, again, I think there will be more maggots that will go down into their bomb shelter and wait out the end times. You know what I mean, and pray for the rapture when it starts, then there will be actually participating in it. Don't get me wrong. There are small groups of lunatics that, are doing like the Patriot Front guys. I'm sure some of you saw the video of them practicing with their little shields. That was not to fight, cops and soldiers. That was to fight Antifa. They do these little things where they show up and they basically have these like low-res gang fights with Antifa. And they make their own Patriot shields to fight back against the Antifa shields. And that's what they're practicing. It's silly. And if it keeps them busy, I don't care. And if they feel a sense of community, one of the things about that will keep them from going rogue and shooting up a place because they feel like they've got an outlet for that stuff. So to some degree, as dumb as it is, it's like some of the militias in Michigan, The fact that they have the militia is partly what keeps each one of those people in the militia from doing something awful on their own. It's a kind of an ironic twist. But there is not going to, I'm telling you, there is no one wants to die for none. All right. No maggot wants to skip all you can eat wing night at Chili's on behalf of Donald Trump, much less die at the hands of their fellow Americans in some sort of bloody feudal war circa 1856. It's stupid.
Yeah, we see them come out of the woodwork every now and then. There's been like one every 8 months that's willing to die for him.
And even them, what was up?
Something just went dark.
Uh-oh. On your screen or on me? I still see you. You're fine. It is not going. I'm just saying it flat out. I know it's nervy, and they talk about it. The danger of him inciting an individual is big enough because thanks to AR-15s and giant magazines and the ability for people to store almost as much ammo as they could possibly want, a single lone wolf in the United States can do a lot of damage. And the biggest concern we have is those folks. It is not an on the streets, Walking Dead, back and forth. It is not. It's not, Walking Dead season 7. It just isn't. It is not going to happen. Stop it. News people, stop it. What you need to talk about is the fact, and part of it is it gives the illusion of strength, because some of these people, some of these rogue actors, the reason why they might feel driven is because they believe there will be a civil war, that they can start it, that they can kick it. All they have to do is kickstart it and everybody else will join in. And the talk about he has control over a large group of followers and he could create he's got a whole army of blah, 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 which he absolutely does not have, builds the illusion in these people's minds that they could actually spark some sort of revolution. They cannot. They will not. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now. No, there's not going to be any uprising of more than 6 people ever. And the worst part, there are 2 things we have to primarily worry about in what Trump is saying and what he's inciting. A person who was inclined to do an Oklahoma City style bombing, with 2 of their friends, who's, smart and tactical enough to keep it on the down low until it happens. Or just someone walking into a store or stealing an airplane and crashing it into a Walmart. Individual stuff. It is not because there is a mass of people. And the illusion that there's a mass of people reinforces the delusion that these people have that they are on the side of some movement in history when they are not.
Someone in chat, Suzanne, said they cannot afford an attorney. That's a huge part of it. Because if you pretend to go to war and start shooting people.
Oh, yeah. You need a really good
murder.
Yeah, you need a really good attorney. And again, the only reason, like this guy, one of the most recent guys who got put away, he got 10 years, former cop, former Marine, and the judge was all towards being lenient. He beat up a cop. He was part of a group that like struck a cop with one of these like bicycle racks. And then they beat him afterwards. It was really egregious. He was beating on this cop. And the judge was, according to the transcripts, had a tendency to go, look, you got swept up in this thing. You've served the country well. You used to be a cop. Something, you should get, we should take that into account when you're being sentenced. However, you sat here during this whole trial and made yourself out to be the victim and the hero in this situation. That you were just trying to do something good for America, which makes you a hero, and you were the victim because you got swept up in this thing. Meanwhile, never taking total responsibility until you were convicted for attacking a police officer and nearly taking their life. And had someone next to you not either moved you on to the next target, or you'd have thought, I guess they were down for the count and it didn't matter, you would have. So this guy got 10 years. This guy got 10 years for Donald Trump.
Damn.
And while January 6th was a lightning in a bottle moment for Trump and his movement, still said there were tens of thousands of people at the Ellipse listening to his speech. And a very small portion of them actually went to the Capitol. The rest of them went home. They thought it was going to be like the Women's March or any other thing where they go, we want our country back. And then once it turned ugly, especially, they all got on a bus. There is no there in this giant movement to support Donald Trump, and it whittles down every single day. I am very curious to see what the turnout will be at this rally in Pennsylvania, considering he is supporting Dr. Oz, whom his own supporters cannot stand and are still angry that he beat out Barnett, who's a total Q lunatic, like a Carrie Lake, like the woman who beat Harriet Hegman, the woman who beat Liz Cheney in Wisconsin. They're nuts. And yet his own followers are angry that he's still supporting Mehmet Oz. That's not going to play well. And if Oz comes up and speaks, it'll be interesting to see how much cleanup he has to do. We're going to have another moment where he gets booed by his own people. It's one thing when Biden's giving a speech about democracy and warning everyone that there's a difference between conservative Republicans and MAGA Republicans. But then and somebody yelling, "Let's go, Brandon," through a bullhorn while he's doing it there. That actually made Biden's point during that speech. That is entirely different. Then can you imagine if Biden during that speech said something like, we have to respect conservative Republicans because even if we don't agree with their policies, politics is better than bloodshed. And and a bunch of like left-leaning Dems, like the squad, all stood up and turned their back on him when he said, we don't want violence. Can you imagine that happening? That's what happened when Trump stumped for Oz last time. Wrap your head around.
People got sad that he didn't want violence.
No, they got mad because he was supporting Oz. They were because he was voting for Mehmet Oz. So that was enough. Because you got to understand, these folks. First of all, Trump is going to turn into a zombie today. He's been vaccinated. I don't know how to break it to these people. Yeah. So has Mehmet Oz, and Mehmet Oz. Probably will do it on stage. Wouldn't that be magical? I mean, we won't be able to enjoy it because we're going to turn
transform.
Just in the middle of his I think crudité, and then he just starts, like in 28 Days Later, his eyes start going bloodshot, and he's like, "Get away!" Like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video. I have to say, we won't be able to enjoy it because we'll be doing the exact same thing at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, if we're all turning into zombies.
If it's at a certain time. If it's where the sun is, as it has to be, I don't know. I don't know how it works. We'll have to look it up. But you have to understand, they wanted somebody else. The MAGA crowd wanted somebody else. They don't believe that Oz is sufficiently MAGA. As a matter of fact, he stopped mentioning Trump in his ads after that first endorsement. But they don't have a choice at this point. We gotta take a break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, brought to you by our lovely folks who super chat on the show, and of course our Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. And also we're live streaming on Facebook at infotainmentwars.com. We'll bring you to our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up or give a thumbs down if you hate this, because the algorithm don't care. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
Well, I don't care for you if the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Puss-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
Welcome back. So since it's Labor Day weekend, I thought I'd point out that over the last year and a half, especially, but partly in response to the government giving out, unemployment insurance and helping people during the COVID lockdown, which was of course all Democrats, and the Republicans were like, no, okay, I guess. Even Trump, if you guys remember when Trump first signed the initial funding to fight COVID, he asked for $2 billion and Congress gave him $8 billion. Right. And he was like,
I don't remember that.
I didn't ask for it, but I'll take it. That was the big quote. I didn't ask for it, but I'll take it. And he signed I'll take it. What do you mean you'll take it, dummy? It goes right out the door. The spending goes where it needs to go. We needed PPE. We needed to start, turn the research labs in the United States on high alert. That's where a lot of that money went. Okay. So, and you needed, fresh PPE, especially for doctors and nurses and stuff, because they were going through stuff at a clip. It was crazy because they, the first version of COVID and then Omicron were the two most contagious. Delta slightly less so, thank God, because it was more deadly. But that's how coronavirus is often balanced. And it was the dangerous mix of the original coronavirus. Its deadliness was way higher than most, and its contagion level was standard or even higher for, like the flu or a cold. And the problem is, it isn't that it was going to be deadly to, like Ebola or something spreading across and just killing everyone in its path, but by its contagious nature and the number of people it could kill, the death rate that went with it, because of that proximity tightening, it made it far more deadly than almost any disease we'd seen in a long time, because it could get more people, and just by the shotgun approach, it could kill more people. That was the concern. So we were talking about Operation Warp Speed during the thing, but one of the things that, when businesses shut down and people, the government had to support people during that time, and we expanded UI, and the Democrats were for it, and they extended it in many ways. Trump is still chafing at Mitch McConnell for not promising $2,000 when Biden was saying we'll get $2,000. They got the $600, and then they added $1,400, and still, the Marianne Williamsons of the world were still angry that this was a broken promise because it wasn't another $2 on top of the, like it was such a semantical argument favoring, the Trump crowd. But Trump was mad at Mitch McConnell for not, promising we'll get you a whole $2,000. Well, Republicans aren't going to do that. Not when you're the party of Rand Paul. He's going to shut it down and it'll never leave committee. Yeah. He can't even make that promise if he wanted to. You think we're intransigent. You think we have to deal with, Manchin and Sinema getting stuff across the finish line. You talk about a narrow margin. Even when they have the votes, some members of their party will shoot stuff down that the Republicans are trying to get passed through. It's hilarious because they can't be the party of actually doing stuff, because when your entire premise is that government doesn't work and can't do anything right, if it starts to do stuff right, it ruins your whole premise. If you don't believe me, see all the, there's no difference between the Dems and Republicans crowd. Nothing is allowed to work, because if it does, then it points out what a moron they are. So anyways, during the last year and a half especially, but, and it's ramped up, there's a what's called a real-time inequality tracker. And the bottom 50% of households in the United States have fared better post-COVID than the middle class and the upper class. That as far as expanding, pocketbooks and available funds, the adjusted wealth growth in the lower 50% was 2.8%.
Oh, wow.
Which is somewhere in the order of, I want to say, $3 trillion. In adjusted wealth spread out over, a relatively large swath of people, but we're not talking about children and elderly people who are retired necessarily. We're talking about working poor is the idea. 2.8% growth, and that's because of the tightening job market, because of wage growth. Wages have gone up 5.6%, and even with inflation, depending on where you are, the inflation is still in that adjusted 2% range on some items, and obviously much higher in certain areas, but there's not a metered, 30% rise in everything. Some things are available, some aren't, because it's not based on monetary policy. It's based on supply shock. By contrast, those in the middle 40% were down 4.9%. So the middle class during this time, and that's largely because they have, to some degree, they have stock holdings, and a lot of their work entails jobs that require more travel, and they can't commute to work on a bus, or they don't go the regular routes. They have to fly places. They have to do things, and some stocks, because of supply shock, have gone down. Some of them may have investments that were involved in China or overseas, or even the European stock market, which has taken a hit. Maybe they have a diversified portfolio that took some, as part of their IRA that went down. So they've lost 5%. The upper 1% have lost more than 10%. Largely because of stock fluctuations, even with them going up. They have not been apparently betting in the right direction. Now, there have obviously been some standouts like Jeff Bezos and Musk and a few others, but those are a few isolated beings that are involved in a few isolated businesses that are either incredibly important or became meme stocks during COVID. And that helped boost those things up. Amazon is one of the reasons why the American people rode out the COVID lockdowns more healthfully than other countries did.
Sure.
Yeah. So America's working class has been buoyed by outsized wage gains in one of the tightest labor markets in decades. Incomes among the bottom 50% adjusted for inflation increased 1.3%. And by the way, inflation is year over year. So once it goes back down, those wages are going to stay where they are. More than likely, nobody's going to back down from that wage increase. If they do, they'll end up letting one person go, and that's where you'll see adjustments you'll see, like you saw last week, we got 315,000 jobs added during the month of August, but unemployment ticked up to 3.7 because more people entered the hunt for jobs. They're looking for a job now. And also, as we get near the fall, people decide, am I going to go to college, or am I going to take a job or take a year off, or those kind of things. That can affect it as well. So, while the middle 40% fell by 0.2% since April fell by 2% in the first half of 2022. Since April 2020, a real income growth for the lower half of the U.S. at about 45% has roughly doubled the pace nationwide. So while these are small increments, they are meaningful in the day-to-day when you're paycheck to paycheck. They in some cases are the thing that allow you to get one step ahead, to finally get a toehold. And then long-term, these are the things that elevate a generation. These are the things that lead to people going to college and university when they really had written it off as a possibility. It's a good thing. And so happy Labor Day weekend to everybody, and recognize that, by the way, that 2.8% through the first 6 months of this year, just in the first 6 months, that alone is a major ad for this particular group of people in this income bracket. The middle income bracket going down 4.9%, while it's not great or fun, is not the kind of thing that pulls the rug out from under you or makes, your choices, where you're not making a cat food or medicine choice. And the top 1% could lose, 30% of their wealth, and nobody told them. So it's a fascinating thing, and I think it's worth noting that when a Democrat is in office, things trend towards more equity, even just in the normal structures of things. It's good. We'll be back right after this.
This is Damian Perdue of Think Theory Radio, Saturdays at 6 p.m. You're listening to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I thought there was going to be like a new one every break. I was so excited.
You want more, Hal? We'll give you more. Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. Hoo-yah!
Oh, I have to say, this picture of Trump eating at I think he's at Bedminster.
I want to see a picture of him
in the common area. It's not. I mean, he looks bad. He's an old man, and old men are. Old people are allowed to look like crap. But
thank you.
I feel seen.
As long as you notice that my calves are still kind of defined.
They are. Secondly, excuse me, we're the same age.
Yeah, Hollywood 50 is different than
Is that what I am? I'm Hollywood 50. I'm 53. I'll be 53 this month.
I'm already 53. I'm so much older than you.
Yeah, by a month or two, a month and a half, 6 weeks, something like that. Get out of here.
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyways, it's Hollywood Hal. That's going to be my new nickname. I'm going to wear shades all the time. It's going to be a thing. I'm going to be the
I just Googled Trump eating, and I should not have done that.
Oh, no. Yes. Not a good thing. Don't do it. Richard Marks just tweeted the picture out. I
love Richard's Twitter feed.
Oh, he's lovely. He's a good man and a Chicago native. Yes. See, there's a lot of good music comes out of Chicago. I'm just saying. I don't know when that started, but man, it's stuck there. But enough about ministry. All right, here we go. The fascinating thing for me, and by the way, I will be covering the Trump rally on my live stream later on today. I just don't know when he's actually going to show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my system up, and then once he actually shows up, I will go live streaming it like a couple of minutes after he has started and do my thing, commenting. So that,
do my thing.
So that we don't have to sit there and I don't have to lose my voice yammering while we're waiting for this guy to, come out like Axl Rose circa 1991. So there has to be, again, there is definitely some bad news showing up in Trump world that is bigger than what we are seeing come out. Now, they're seeing the filings that they're getting, and the best example I can give of why every protestation that Trump is making is absolute garbage and hilarity is the very fact that he himself could release all 60 days of the footage that they gave to the DOJ of Mar-a-Lago's security cameras. There is nothing stopping them from showing who came and went from that office, who came and went from that storage room, at what time, and whether they deserve to or not. But they will not. You heard it here first, folks. If they'll cut little pieces. The minute they cut 10 minutes, 3 seconds of the door of that place, they're going to show you them putting the lock on the outside, the padlock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not one of those perforated bathroom doors that you could just walk through like a wall in The Man with Two Brains, or just tick the hinges are outside, so you can just knock the top of them off and open the door that way. Good Lord. This is what happens when the only 15-year-olds you've ever been around are rich and don't have to sneak in anywhere.
No.
They have to sneak out. They don't have to sneak in. Just saying. So they at any point could have released the warrant itself. They had it. They absolutely had the warrant, but they did not release it. They have this footage. They could have released it. They had the receipt of items, and they chose, his lawyer and Trump chose for 3 days to say that that his attorney who was present was not allowed to see the warrant, did not get a copy of it, and did not get a copy of the itemized list when she in fact signed it at 6:19 p.m. on the 8th, right after they were done.
Pages.
Yeah, multiple times she lied, and those lies led to some lunatic showing up at the Cincinnati field office with a nail gun because he thought that that could break through bulletproof glass, and then he could shoot through the glass with his gun and kill people. That was why he brought the nail gun. Now, Trump himself, has said today, this morning, and more than likely, how he speaks the incendiary language. I mean, I think a lot of people are just geared up for him to really go off the rails in this rally tonight and say the stuff that he's saying on his truth feed. I mean, it looks like he's road testing statements. Anyways, it sounds like he's gonna say they broke into my home, laid siege to it. They're mobsters and gangsters. He's gonna decry them as enemies of democracy. And again, it is not going to lead to everyone at this Pennsylvania rally getting a bunch of pitchforks and going, a riot is an ugly thing, and it's about time we had one. They're not going to do that. What it might do is make one or two of them snap and steal a plane and crash it into a Walmart. That's my concern. And he just doesn't care. And each one of these they will handle as some sort of, totally unrelated, the same way, people in the past have obviously been, incentivized to behave in a certain way. Walk down to the Capitol, and I'm going to walk down there with you, even though walking down there means getting in my car and having myself driven there. Wait a minute, you're supposed to drive me there. Wait a minute, where are you going? Why are you taking me back to the White House? If I'm not there, it won't work. Oh, dear. So, Lori's saying, I hope there's a thunderstorm. I don't want anyone struck by lightning, but rain would be hilarious. No. I have no interest in that. What I would, by the way, if it did rain, they would go, this climate change stuff is garbage. You could just kind of expect that.